How long have I been talking with the microphone turned off? It's been 6 minutes. How long have I been streaming? A year? Checking if your microphone's turned on is kind of important, huh? Anyway, how about we just go through everything I just talked about, but with actual dialogue. Anyway, welcome to another dev stream. I hope this scuff hasn't ruined your faith in me. Essentially, we're making new weapons today for our Game Jam project turned long-term project, Ocean War. We're gonna make some turrets. We're gonna make some, I don't know. We're gonna make some stuff. It's gonna be cool. And then maybe tomorrow, if we get enough done, we'll implement them into our game. I wanted to start by making the base platform because that's a universal asset for all of our turrets. And once that's done, we'll make the turret heads from there. So the last thing we need to do is get all 4 points here. We'll delete the face, grab the 4 points again, and then extrude inward. Let's do a little more. Right about there. Then we'll elevate this up to about here. Yeah, here should be good. Seal that off. Make sure we got no holes in our model. So we got our base platform, and then this is the pipe that holds the turret heads up above the surface of the boat. So now we can kind of just unwrap the UVs and get to texture painting. Actually, there is something else we're gonna need to do because I'm in Unreal. We need to turn on backface culling, and then I think it's Shift N for recalculating normal outward. Yeah. Well, Unreal is really weird about this stuff, so it's really important that I get this right. Anyway, UV editing. We're gonna use the Smart UV Project, and we'll just put the margins at 0.05. That's what I usually use. It works out pretty well. You can even see that here. Keeps the line spaced out enough to where if you are using like a thicker texture paint brush, you don't run the risk of having that color spill into a surface that you don't want painted. So now we can go to texture paint. We're gonna need to make a new material. We'll call this turret base texture. And then we'll make all the textures for our game 2048 by 2048. Is that a super high resolution? Not really. Does it need to be? Nah, I don't think so. So let's make our HSV value 0.5. We'll have all the base stations be gray just to kind of start out. Cool. So now what I want to do is I want to have like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like I've been calling it fake cell shading for so long outside of streams that I'm genuinely not sure what to call it. But it's essentially where I fake outlines by just drawing outlines on the model itself. It actually looks surprisingly good on some of the other projects I'm working on. So I kind of want to continue it here. So let's get the line stroke method. And then let's set our brush to be 10 pixels. This is a fairly sizable texture, so we can probably get away with 20, but I want to see what 10 looks like first before we do that. So let's start by, I need a little more, need more window. There we go. Probably also need my glasses, but I'll make this work. We'll eyeball this. So draw a straight line like that. And that should have appeared somewhere on here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we might need to upgrade to a size 20 brush, but let's finish. Finish? Bleh. Sorry. I don't know why, but despite work not being very stressful nowadays, my brain has not been working as well. I don't know what it is. Maybe my brain works better in high stress environments. I don't know. I say that, but I do know that I was forgetting really basic stuff during VTuber Tiny Jam 2026 and Spooky Jam 2025. So clearly I'm not a very high stress person. Ooh, that line was not very good. Let's try that again. Down we go. Yeah, that kind of works, actually. That kind of works. I'm sure once we get these sides to line up as well, this will look a little bit better too. So we'll just start working on that. And then, of course, let's not forget to do the base of the column itself. I had to do something like this today for my work project. So I was able to kind of like test out some texture painting methods that I wanted to learn before this stream. Truth be told, I should probably be working on some video projects so that more people know that, you know, what these streams are. I do have a video idea in mind for this project to kind of promote it, but I'm also in the middle of editing another video, so probably should do one thing at a time until I can get my life organized a bit. I'll probably work on it after the stream just a little bit for maybe an hour. Truth be told, there's a lot of things I want to do. Not just to spice up the streams, but to give you guys some actual entertaining content outside of these streams. I have a 2.0 model in the works right now. I was thinking about debuting it this week, but I forgot a critical detail, so I need to go back and work on it. But more importantly, B, I realized that the color choices I went with, while I was happy with them, don't do enough to help the character stand out very well. I don't know how else to describe it without just showing the model. But I've been watching some videos on YouTube about character design to kind of help guide my design process, and it really opened my eyes to like how this model is a little bit flawed. Not in a terrible way, thankfully, you know. It's just some small things that you probably are like, oh, that makes sense, but you never thought about it. But, you know, I'll work on it, you know. All these projects take time, and they're all learning experiences. So I'll take these learning experiences between game dev and content creation to fuel the other stuff. Like, doing Unreal Engine programming for work has taught me so much about what I was doing wrong in all those other game jams. And if you haven't seen the 8-hour game jam video that I put out 2 months ago now, I think it's been 2 months. Like, you can even hear that in my voice, like how frustrated I am with how little I knew, and just kind of like went, yeah, I can do a game jam in 8 hours. I'm smart enough. I was very much not smart enough, but you know, truth be told, who is when they're first starting out? And I learned a lot from that, you know? I learned a lot about line trace by channels in Unreal, which is really cool, really helpful actually. I learned a lot about importing animations. I learned a lot about hit detection, and I learned about widgets. I learned a lot about widgets from that, actually. A lot of what I do nowadays with widgets, I kind of learned from that project, which is honestly the best thing I can say about that whole endeavor. Was I learned a lot from it. And I'm really grateful that I had the patience to kind of stick with it, because I think I mentioned it in that 8-hour stream, but I also mentioned it in the recap video. You know, I didn't get into game development for nearly 10 years because I was just being impatient. And being impatient, you know, it's not an inherently terrible trait to have, but if you're trying to do stuff and you get impatient with yourself, then you only have yourself to blame when you don't realize your own dreams. And that can be a really tough pill to swallow. So glad I took that medicine, though. Boy howdy. Look at me now. I've participated in, what, 4 game jams? And while none of them I would say I'm 100% satisfied with, I'm happy to say that I learned a lot from them. And now I'm actually working on, you know, I do Unreal Engine development for work, like as a living now. I'm doing these streams for game development. Like, that's wild. If you told me even 2 years ago, yeah, you'll be streaming game development, I would have laughed in your face. I would have laughed even harder if you told me that I would actually like learn game development through doing so. Because back then I was under the firm belief that you had to go to college and university to understand programming, and that what little I knew was just from brute forcing things until I learned them. But no, you can absolutely become a game developer without those degrees. You can do it for free, which is so great. We live in a time of opportunity, and you just have to seize it. Really, if you want to do something, just do it. Yeah, that outline looks really, really good, actually. I like how this turned out. I think the only other thing I want to do is I want to add screws to the 4 corners. I know in the world of, you know, reality, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I think that would be kind of cool to have. So we'll need to change our stroke brush. What does the airbrush look like? I don't think I've used this tool before. Here, let's make it size 50, just so I can see it. Ooh. I don't know, I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot, actually. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. So we'll stay this zoomed in, target the corner, and fill the dot. That should be good. Actually, you know what? Let's have the circle touch the corners like that, and then do that. That way it's easier for me to eyeball locations of these dots. Look at me, trying to be a smart man, instead of just going, screw it, we're doing this. Yeah, once we get these 4 dots in position, I think I'll be happy with how this turned out. And then we can move on to actually designing like the turret heads for all these weapons we want to design. Here we go. Yeah, I love game development. I honestly wish that I could just do like game dev projects forever. Which, given how my work has been going recently, it might not literally be that, but it might get close. But I would also, I think I want to pivot away from doing gaming streams to do more like game dev challenges and stuff. It's just so exciting every single time I do them. I can't speak for everyone watching, but I can speak for myself when I say, like, I find the challenges to be really, really exciting to like get ready for. Even if I become like a nervous wreck by the end of it, I'm still finishing with a stupid smile on my face. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Are you happy when you finish? What does that look like? Actually, you know what? Instead of doing a space stroke, let's just do the line. We'll just do... How does this look? Then just cross it. Nah, I like how it is without the crosses on the screws per se. I'm kind of happy with how this looks. So now let's just make the material have a more metallic surface. I'm pretty sure doing this in Blender doesn't do anything when it goes to Unreal. I'll still have to adjust it, but just on the off chance that it just works first try, we'll just put it metal. We'll tone the roughness down as well. Make it really metal looking. Not the right folder at all. Let's make a new folder. Call it updated assets. Turret base 2. Turret base texture should be good. And then if we go back to layout. Oh my god, that's very metal, huh? Very reflective. Maybe we could tone that down with a little bit of roughness. Yeah, that's a little bit more like it. A little more. Yeah, you know what? That's pretty good, actually. All right, let's export this. Okay, selected assets only. Please copy with the files there. There's no animation. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Nope. Turretbase2.fbx. I probably should have kept Unreal open just to make sure I can import these with no issues, but we'll make that a tomorrow problem. I kind of want to keep them I just want to keep the momentum going today. I'm in a really development mood right now. Yeah, just in case this has issues, we'll just make a new Blender file. Cool. So the next piece we're going to work on is going to be the single barrel cannon head. So we'll call it that, single barrel cannon head. Cool. Then just make sure we get all of our bases checked off. So the original model that I put in the game was basically just cutting a hole here, adding some depth, and then sticking another cube inside to be a turret, like, muzzle. And while that worked, I certainly want to try and improve on the design. So for this one, I think... excuse me. Since I'm planning to have the whole turret head rotate in Unreal, it's better to just have the muzzle be fused into the model. So that's what we're gonna do. But first we need to make sure that this feels like a menacing cannon. So the turret head should be as big, if not bigger, than the turret base that we made. So for this exercise, we'll just start with the single barrel cannon being as wide. That's what we'll start with. Here we go. Yeah, that looks pretty menacing. Cool. Then we'll just try and... excuse me. I swear I'm not that tired. I think it's just this time of the day just gets to me. We'll make it a little more squared. Then let's do We'll do some loop cuts. Oh, did that not cut? There we go. Let's make this about here. Whoops. There we go. Grab another loop cut. Ooh, that's exactly where I wanted, actually. Boom. Get another loop cut. One more. We'll have this to be out here. Why does that look so off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's fine. Okay. I think my eyes are just getting confused by the grid. The grid itself is not even because we're halfway through these blocks, but that's not a big deal. Anyway, let's take this face. It doesn't matter which side, I just want to take a face off. Cool, so now we need to just make this solid, which is actually pretty easy to do. Just grab some points here. Oops. What did I hit? Oh, I hit G. Bouncing between my desktop and my work laptop certainly gets me confused. Especially now since I use them both for the similar purpose, just in different engines for some reason. At work I'm Unreal Engine 5, here I'm Unreal Engine 4, but I'm still using Blender. Oh, actually I'm using a different version of Blender too, oh my god. On this desktop I have it as Blender 4.2, but at work it's Blender 5. That's crazy. That's how far off I am. Okay, so for the turret, I kind of want to do some interesting things with it. So, in the current version of the project, the barrel kind of just moves with the head of the turret, which is the intention, right? But when it shoots, there's nothing, you know, there's no feedback. The gun shoots and the muzzle flash is the only feedback you get. I'd like to have a multi-stage barrel so we can add a small firing animation. So let's do that. We're gonna probably need to do this as different pieces. So let's start with that. Well, first, let's make sure this has an armature. Oh shoot, that's not how you do that. I don't know why my brain went to that right away. I know better. Add an armature. Single bone. Make sure it's about the same size as your model. Cool. And then I think it's parent like this, right? Automatic weights. Yeah, there we go. So that'll be how the turret controls its rotation. Cool. So let's work on the first barrel. There's a better way to do this. I don't know why I did that. What we can do is just shrink this a little bit. Extrude that out on the y-axis. Just a little bit. Something like that should actually be fine. And then... do I want to close that is the question. Yeah, let's close it. No. Because I want to also extrude this inward. And then extrude that outward. And then what we can do is just Do this. Bring this in just a hair, enough to where the player can tell that, oh shoot, it's a barrel. Close it. That's pretty much all we really need to do. So now, I think it's bone to model gets you the weight painter. Yep. So maybe actually what we want to do first. Nah, it's fine. Let's start by taking the weight off of the barrels. We're going to do select vertices. Make sure we get both sides here. Yeah, if I've learned anything from Spooky Jam 2025, it was weight painting is tedious, but extremely important. If you get this wrong, everything goes wrong. I think I ended up spending like a good quarter of the jam just fixing my models. Or modeling, period, because boy howdy, I had no idea what I was doing back then. And now I only kind of know what I'm doing, which is slightly better. Set that weight to 1. Okay, and then bring the weights back down. We want to make sure this is all blue. Zoom in a little bit just to get... Yeah, that's my target. Get that turned blue. I literally had a cup of coffee before this stream, man. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Anyway, that's the weight paint for one bone. Done. So now what we need to do, go back to object mode. Yeah, let's do this. First barrel ends about there. Why does that look so off? Are we not centered? Yeah, we're off center. Just a little bit, but it'll be fine. I don't think it's extremely critical to get this right. And we're working off the grid, so it's a little difficult to begin with. Anywho. Wonder if I can just... There we go. Makes a little more sense that way. And now... Oops, wrong order. Bone to model to weight paint. And then we want to make sure our bones are... Oh, we got to do this out in the edit mode probably, or object mode. Viewport display, always in front. There we go. Bone to model, go to weight paint. Is it not? Oh, select bone. There we go. Nope, still not letting me select bones. Probably because I didn't add these bones to the group. Yeah, probably. Okay, so object mode, edit. There's a way to do this. I just don't remember. Yeah, I might need to do this from scratch. Let's do that. Actually, before we continue, maybe we can try and align this better real quick, since we know it's an issue. Nope. We are literally just a grid space too wide. That's okay. So let's get this raised up. There we go. Then those are lined up properly on all angles. Yep. Cool. Now in theory, set the active bone as the parent of the selected bone. So it's this order here. I did something wrong, evidently. Also, my phone just went off. Bear with me. Okay, we're good. Let's undo that parent. Well, I mean, it's already one parent, so I guess I didn't need to do that. Okay, so let's try model to bone. Parent with automatic weights. And now bone to parent. Oops, I forgot to make the bones in front. Oh dear. There we go. Luckily, that's a very quick thing. Okay, so we do need to do some fixing of the weight paints here, but it's not a big deal. So we'll assign it by vertice. Actually, do by face. There we go. Let's bring that brush size down a bit. Rotate. Paint this all red. I don't think I have the right bone paint selected. I did not have the right bone selected. Or if I did, it's not showing me correctly. Yeah, I don't know why it's only showing me this as selected when I'm clearly selecting other stuff. Very strange. Yeah, I'm even trying, like, shift click, control click, lasso select. Yeah, that didn't do anything. Yeah, that's not letting me do it. whatever. We know what we're doing, kind of. Bring this in a little bit. Spin this around. So for work, I have to submit, I say I have to, I volunteered. But whenever I'm working on my assigned project, at the end of my shift, I send a kind of like a end of day report. It just summarizes what I did and sometimes why I did it. It doesn't have to be very in-depth. But for one of the reports I had to submit, it was kind of like a I overhauled an entire segment of the program so that way it runs better. It has less impact on the CPU of your computer when running the program. And given how, I don't know how to say this without getting in trouble. Because of how minimally involved they are with computers, yeah, let's go with that. They don't involve themselves with computer tech too much. Because of that, I do wonder how much of what I wrote they're gonna understand. Don't get me wrong, I do my best to try and write things so that way, I'm not gonna say everyone can understand, but at least people can kind of get an idea of what I'm discussing. But yeah, I don't know about this one, man. It was really hard to explain. It was like, yeah, I overhauled this whole portion because while the previous version functioned, it was very CPU intensive, and I decided I wanted to fix that. Especially since we're so early in the project, like doing optimization stuff like that isn't really that necessary, but I chose to do it because it'll mean working on later segments of the project will be a lot easier for me. I don't know, it's really hard to say without like completely diving into what the hell I'm doing at work, and I don't really want to do that. But it did mean I learned a lot about data tables in Unreal, and man, there's so much you can do with data tables in Unreal. I feel so dumb for not using them before. They are so cool. They're basically spreadsheets, but you can put like anything in them. Like you can put, as long as you make a data structure, which is basically like, here's a list of things that can be pulled. So like strings, models, textures, materials, enumerators. Like if Unreal has it, you can probably put it in a structure, and then when you make a data table, you're basically making a list of assets with features from that data structure. And it's so cool. It is so cool. I want to make a project that utilizes that to its fullest extent, which honestly might end up being the Cafe des Armes once this project wraps up. But we'll have to wait and see on that for sure, because this project is already kind of big on its own without me trying to shoulder the burden of another game's development, especially when I'm doing dev streams on weekdays currently, which means I only have like 2 to 3 hours to do any kind of work. Hopefully that'll change once I wrap up my current projects, but yeah, it's so cool. It is so cool. Okay, let's check if these weight paints are working as intended. Yeah, it's not letting me select the right bone right now. But we can see that this one is at least working correctly. So ideally, when we fire, I want it to be a 2-stage animation where this barrel goes inward first, and then this barrel goes... Oops, am I doing R? Oh, it's because I have the... Here, let's just go to object mode, pose mode. Ah, you can only rotate. Okay, so what if I grab this? Okay. Maybe I can get away with this. Not really. Why does this have influence over that? I apparently need to do more weight painting. Oh, let's go do that real quick. It's showing influence over these vertices somehow. Is it maybe inside the model? Certainly doesn't look like it. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't tone down its influence up here. That might be part of it. Get a sip of my drink right here. Mm. There we go. Okay, that should be a little bit better. So now if we go back, pose mode. Yep. It still has some influence over that vertice down there. Okay. How about you? You still have some influence on some other vertices. Yeah, it's not letting me do the shrink thing I wanted to do, but that's okay. It does do the scaling thing, so maybe we can just kind of boom, 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 boom. Which, you know, while not the intention, does still kind of match the kind of cartoony aesthetic that we've been going for. Even just lock it like this. Boom, boom. You see, it even looks kind of like a cannon firing. Here, we don't have any materials yet. This is not gonna look quite like what I'm talking about, but it still kind of looks like a cannon firing. I kind of like it in a kind of like cartoony sense. And since I brought up materials and textures, how about we do that real quick? Well, let's start with the UV editing. Probably should have selected the model and then did that. And let's just do a smart UV project. 0.05. Cool, cool. And we'll try and be consistent in our coloring here. Single barrel cannon texture. And then I believe we set this to 0.5. Yep. That'll be our base color. We get ahead of ourselves a little bit. Set the metallic ratio to 1. I think we did like 0.3 for roughness or something like that. We'll set it as 0.3 for now. Cool. So now let's start doing our outlines. Make sure that's a size 10. Make sure we're using the color black. Okay, so you can kind of guess where some of these are. Let's start with here. So it's either going to be the top or it's going to be the bottom. Excuse me. Line that up, drag it across. Oh, that's the side. That's not even top or bottom. Whoops. That's okay. At least we're still doing. Oh, that's the back. It's not. Wow. I'm so good at this guessing thing. There we go. So let's do that for all the big pieces first, and then we'll work our way down to the small pieces. The small pieces is going to be probably where the barrel is. So go across here like that. Ooh, that looks like the front, if not the top. Top. That's pretty good. It genuinely, like, as small as this is, it really does add a lot to the outline aesthetic I want to go for without, you know, using the engine to do that. A lot of the toon shader stuff that you find online for Unreal, like that people are like, oh, just follow this tutorial, it's super simple. Those people are building those assets in a, I'm going to say tutorial environment, which sounds obvious, but it means that while they got the feature to work on paper, there are issues with how that's implemented that you won't see until you put it in your own project. For example, there was a toon shader made by a really popular Unreal developer, one I actually respect quite a bit. He does like Unreal tutorials all the time. But the toon shader that he taught looks great, super easy to implement, like 5 minutes of work and you got a toon shader going. But what he didn't show, or maybe he didn't know, you know, hard to say, was that if you put a widget in your world, as in like your UI is in the world and not just stuck on your character's screen, that widget also gets affected by the cell shader to the point where it becomes unreadable. And I think it's just because the widget material, the default widget material in Unreal Engine, is very much not made for cell shading of any kind. And also the other thing is that his cell shader only works on opaque objects. It doesn't work on any transparent objects. Like even if you have like a, you know, 80% opacity, it's only a little bit, it makes it 100% opaque or 0% visibility once you turn on that cell shader, which was very unfortunate because again, it looked great, 5 minutes to implement, but because it was built in a test environment, there was no consideration for how it would affect other mechanics that people learning from the tutorials may want to build on. So doing this is kind of my way to make up for it until I can find a better solution. I don't know enough about Unreal's material editor to confidently make my own like cell shader. I'd like to learn about it someday, but it's definitely not on my priority list right now. There's a lot of other projects and other mechanics I want or need to learn in order to accomplish my personal goals. And again, this is just a simple, anyone can do this. And it looks great. Like the only thing missing is just making your own like shadows to look kind of like toony. Which there's a couple solutions for as well. Like I have the VRM plugin for Blender, which if I can actually apply VRM shaders to these pieces if I wanted to, but the 1 or 2 times I've experimented with them, the results were a little strange because I didn't know a lot back then. So I'd like to save that kind of a, effort for a project where learning that stuff is the goal. That's over there. Cool. Yeah, learning development is a long journey, but it is fun. And sometimes you just gotta teach yourself some stuff based on what you've heard from others. Man, it's already been almost an hour. That's crazy. We didn't really get much done so far, but at the same time, modeling, texturing, and exporting isn't a 20-minute process. Well, I mean, it can be depending on what you're modeling, I guess, but for game-ready assets, it certainly isn't 20 minutes. We can at least get 2 of these knocked out, though. I'd like to at least get the single barrel and triple barrel cannons done, since those are our 2 main weapons that we already have implemented. And then from there, we'll just start working on the other stuff. It's gonna be tough. Maybe just touch the edge of my crosshair like that. Where even is that? It might be inside the model that I'm working on. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, no, that's worthwhile effort. Actually, maybe not these corners. If I do this, maybe? Oh, no, that just doesn't do anything. Here. Let's clean this up real quick and try again. So I think something like this. That's too much. We might need to tone this down to a 5 pixel count just to get this side taken care of. Oh yeah, that was absolutely the right call. Okay. I need to zoom in. I can barely see this line. I don't know how it's coming across on stream, but that's really hard to see. Granted, I'm also not wearing my glasses, so that could also be it. There we go. That looks pretty decent. Now we just gotta do that for the other tiny triangles that are here somewhere. Oh, there they are. Well, there's 2 sets of them. That's gonna be annoying to do. Grab here to here. Oh. Let's go back up. Here we go. And just that. Look at that. We have kind of a nice little outline on the inside of the barrel here. Then just do the same for the outside. Assuming my eyes will focus on that point. That's pretty close. I've been trying to mix up like the kind of content I watch on YouTube so I can learn how other creators kind of find their voice in the space. I know that this is probably coming across as kind of strange conversation for someone of my channel size, but you know, that's kind of the nice thing. I can kind of talk about whatever. I'm still very much in the looking for my style of content phase. I certainly thought I found it last year when I first started streaming. Like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing, but that ended up being extremely physically exhausting, you know, trying to edit a video every week, the same week you stream, without consideration for the fact that you edit your own videos, you have to set up your own streams, you got to set up your own equipment, especially if you were trying to be a VR VTuber, which, boy howdy, my computer wasn't ready for that back when it was on Windows 10, and Windows 11 has been an absolute nightmare since. So yeah, I had to give up on being a dedicated VR content creator, but also because I was getting physically ill from motion sickness, so that probably wasn't helping too much. I still play VR, I just don't stream it, unfortunately. But yeah, I've been trying to switch up the kind of content I watch, you know, instead of just watching you know, regular VTuber content, or just, you know, I made a game in 7 days and here's how, you know. Just actually watching game development live streams, watching VTuber live streams, watching non-VTuber live streams, watching IRL streams and stuff like that, to get an idea of how people find their voice. And I've learned a lot from it, you know. Like, I think the biggest kind of revelation I've had recently was watching CDog VA. He's a voice actor slash full-time streamer. You've probably already heard about him, but he's really, really funny and really nice guy. But his videos, some of my favorite videos on his channel, at least as far as I've watched, have an approach that I really adore, and I kind of want to pursue that after my current projects are wrapped up, which is that every video that he publishes, I shouldn't say every video, but the long form videos that he publishes, some of them approach the content as, this is a story. So for example, when he did his Satisfactory video, which, oh my god, what a fun video that was. You know, he turned it into a story where, you know, he would come on screen with a microphone and just kind of talk about what's going on sometimes, because the footage doesn't always tell the whole story for you, right? You know, he let the footage speak for itself when it could, and when it couldn't, he would step in and speak for it. And honestly, like, it really scratches that, like, writer itch in my brain sometimes, where I'm just like, I want to write a book, I want to write a show, I want to write a movie. You know, it scratches that kind of itch. So I kind of want to try that. I have a series of streams that I did that I'm looking at as part of that concept. So maybe something to explore. But I also want to make long form videos on the game jams that I already participated in and just haven't made a long form video on because I was lazy. When I was done with it, I was just like, I'm done, I don't have to think about this anymore, peace. And now I'm gonna be making a video on them, like, how many months later? It's a silly concept, but it could be a lot of fun if I do it right. I mean, making the 8-hour game jam video was fun, even if that video turned out scuffed as all hell. But, you know, at the end of the day, if it's not fun, then why are you doing it, right? Currently editing highlight videos of my streams in the more traditional sense of just kind of like, you know, let's get all the funny moments, let's put some subtitles on them and add some fancy edits. You know, that kind of content, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it definitely doesn't scratch my creative itch. I definitely want to do something more. And I'm sure a lot of people get that, you know, same feeling. They're doing something that they thought would be fulfilling, and while there is enjoyment to be had with it, it doesn't scratch the itch that they were hoping for. I'm hoping that I can at least find my own way to the fun. I feel like we missed this, which might be this. Let's get this inked in, and then we'll try and get the triple barrel cannons done today. But yeah, I don't know how much of this stream has just been me talking about, you know, the creative juices in my brain right now, especially since this was supposed to be a game dev stream, but that's where I'm at right now. I've been starved to do a lot of creative works. I don't know if I've talked about this on stream before, but back when I was in college and university, actually no, just college, because I dropped out of university before I did anything. But I did write a couple of books, and you know, while they are kind of cringy to look back on personally, because like all fine art, it's very representative of who I was back then and how I saw the world, which was to say I was an angry adult. I was a very angry adult. And while I was lashing out at the world, I was most upset with myself, and that kind of shows in the book a bit. And my second book was kind of more the same. You know, the world is mean, but I hate myself more. I haven't written a proper book since then, and I want to, or at least do a creative work that involves, you know, the creative writing I learned from college and from those projects, because I did learn a lot about writing. You know, I learned a lot about a lot of things, and I want to apply everything I've learned into creative outlets, because from approximately 2022 to last year, I didn't do anything creative, or at the very least, all my creative works never got released. Like I did write a draft for a book. I finished it, and then I told myself I'm going to do a second draft, and then I dropped the project. I did that at least 3 times between 2022 and 2025, and that was extremely frustrating. Granted, you know, things in real life happen, and sometimes that is what takes you away from your creative endeavors, but if you really, really want it done, you'll just do it. You know, you'll make the time, you'll find a way. Like, I started streaming out of spite for myself. Like, you won't do it. Yeah, I will. And same thing with game development. You'll never finish a game. Yeah, I will. Watch me. I'll do it in 8 hours. That's how I started. So I'm hoping to get some more creative works done. My goal for this year... yeah, my goal for this year... I probably should have this documented somewhere so I can, you know, encourage anyone who wants to join this small community to participate in it. But I have three major goals for this year. I'd like to get to... this is gonna sound so silly. I'd like to get to 100 followers or subscribers on YouTube or on Twitch. I know that sounds small, because it is, but that's my personal goal. I'd like to get to 100 on both platforms. Oh shoot, I don't want that. Whoops. That's probably this back here, huh? My second goal is to finish Ocean War. I'd like to finish at least one game project this year. And then I'd also like to write another book. Now, while the book thing might sound, you know, crazy ambitious, and I'm not saying this to say like, oh, I'm so good. This is probably a bad thing, but my first book I wrote in 3 months. And my second book took me 8 months. And I do technically have a draft that I'm working on. That is about, I want to say 30% done. So I might just work on that. I don't know, I might just, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, but I'd like to move away from doing gaming live streams. And I think I'll use those time slots for my streams to showcase my creative endeavors instead. Because another thing I've been thinking a lot about recently was, there was a tweet I saw. I think I liked the post. Maybe I can find who the user was. But it was another VTuber. Oh shoot, hold on. I got a text message I gotta respond to. Anyway, this VTuber posted a really interesting and I found it really insightful tweet where they said, oh man, did I not like the post? Man, that's kind of, yeah. Anyway, they said that live streaming isn't how you gain an audience. You gain an audience by putting your art out there. Streaming is for the community. And I thought that was like really, really insightful. You know, because when you stream, you're hoping people will just kind of tune in and latch on to who you are. And that's just not how people find you. They find you through your tweets. They find you through your... I'm just realizing I want to color the barrels black. They stand out from the rest of the body. Sorry, I know I'm kind of coming across kind of crazy right now, but I've really been putting a lot of thought into my creative endeavors as of late, because I want to do more. I want to do so much, and I feel like doing gaming live streams has really pigeonholed. It's kind of been a nerf to myself, I guess. I'm not satisfied doing gaming live streams. So, you know, my goals for this year: hit 100 people who enjoy my content. Finish Ocean War, which honestly might be the tougher goal than anything else. And then finish another book. I have a friend who's also doing their own book, so that's someone I can kind of like bounce motivation off of. You know, just root for each other until we both cross that finish line. The host of VTuber Tiny Jam, Mossflower, by the way, his game just came out yesterday. What was it called? Bodega Simulator, I think it was. Dungeon Bodega Simulator. Please play that. I'll probably make time to play it on stream at some point. But watching his live streams has also been like a huge motivator to want to do more game dev. He is such an excellent role model for game developers out there, in my opinion. I want him to succeed and kind of follow his lead, for lack of better terms. I don't think I can be a great role model, but I can certainly put my stuff out there for people to enjoy. And that's ultimately what my personal goal is make something that someone can look at and go, I enjoyed that. And that sounds silly, but that's where my brain is right now. I want to make things that make people enjoy things. They enjoy content. Because growing up, my favorite thing in the world was entertaining others. And I never did that through performance. It was always just like, hey, I made this thing. How about you check it out for me real quick and tell me what you think? In elementary school, it was hand-drawn comics. In middle school, it was poems and Wattpad stories. And in high school, it was, I think more than anything, it was my sense of humor. I mean, I did write more on Wattpad in high school, but I don't know. I feel like I got to see more people smile when I was telling jokes and talking about projects I'd like to do in the future. One of them was game development, funny enough. So that kind of means that I've already kind of succeeded in getting at least high school me excited. But again, those are my goals for this year. And I'd like to start shifting my content to support those goals. And this cannon's starting to look pretty menacing. Where's that surface? Is that here? Yep. Another thing I'd like to do is collaborate more with people on projects like these. Granted, probably not this year. I'm not talking about next year stuff, if not year after, but I'd love to collaborate with people on whether it be game jam projects or animation projects or something like that. I don't know. It'd be really fun to be a part of a group effort. I haven't really been engaged in anything like that since... Man, when was the last time? I guess outside of work, it's been like since college since I did a group effort thing. But yeah, it'd be nice to do another group project. Whether that be with another VTuber, streamer, or just one of my buddies doesn't really matter, honestly. I just like working together with someone on a common goal of a creative effort. I feel like this needs something. Let's get an airbrush. Let's add some, like, I don't want to call it battle damage, but you know what I mean? Just some wear and tear. Oops, that stands out pretty bad. Just kind of put it in the corner. I think that's at the top, yeah. How about we just kind of get some gunpowder going from there. And then the face is over here, right? So, yeah. This cannon has seen some action. Right here? Nope, other side. I like how this is coming out. Maybe this side? Oh, that's somewhere else. Is it here? Hey. Oh yeah, I do apologize if it sounds like I'm venting this whole stream. I've just been really thinking about how fulfilling streaming has been as of late, and I wasn't satisfied with what I came back with to myself. So I don't mean for this to be a therapy session for myself. It's just that's all that's been on my brain as of late is, am I satisfied with this creative endeavor, and is there a way to make it more satisfactory for myself? And is there a way for that satisfaction to become something for anyone who wants to come view my content, whether that be for me or the content itself? It's not great, but that's our cannon. Nah, let's take the battle stuff off. Truth be told, this cannon is not going to be that big once you unlock the bigger ships too, so this kind of detail is kind of not going to be noticeable. It's not going to be noticeable for the first bit. There we go. Oh shoot, no. I undo all this. Oof, that's kind of painful. Yeah, it might be too late. I mean, at least we can say we did something in this stream, you know? We did finish the base. We did make a better cannon turret head. It's not like this stream was nothing. This has certainly been a productive stream. And I've certainly got a lot of... I hate to admit that this really did turn out to be a therapy stream, but I did get a lot off my chest. There's still a hair more here. Man, time is going by so fast. It's already been 20 minutes since we hit that hour mark. But tomorrow is another day. We can always do even more tomorrow. And hopefully I'll have all my baggage left at the door when I turn on the stream. And also remember to turn on my microphone. That first 6 minutes with no microphone. Embarrassing. Or as my former boss used to say, oh, that's embarrassing. Oh, that man. Okay, so... Is that every surface? Pretty much every surface. Cool, let's get this exported. Not before we save that, though. Here we go. We should probably also make the turret animation. Well, I guess we can also animate it in Unreal, which is not, like, perfect, but it's not a complex animation. We don't need to worry too much about it, so... Select all, make sure we get the bone. Export as an FBX. Here we copy. Selected items only, no animations. Big stretch. I swear I did my stretches before this stream, but man, feels good. Let's get a quick sip. And we'll save this project so that way, if we find out something's wrong with it, we can fix it later. Oh, you know what we should have done? Nah. I was gonna say recalculate the normals, but we can just check if Unreal likes it or not later. Let's save this project. This will be the triple barrel cannon head. Okay. Oops. Okay, so for this one, first make sure it's level. So for this one, I'd like the triple barrel cannons to be noticeably wide. So let's go into edit mode and do that. Actually, while we're at it, bring those over here. Let's add a mirror modifier, because this is going to get messy very fast if I'm not careful. Ooh, it even did the right axis the first time. Look at that. Alright, cool. Anyway, I want this to be wide. So let's make this... That wide should be good. Then we'll also... we'll make it half. Same thing with the front. Cool. So to make this a triple barrel cannon, we're gonna need to do a few things. First off, we're gonna need to make a, 3 barrels. The real question is, how do we want to do that? So let's start small. Let's do some loop cuts. Then another loop cut. Here. Make sure we're looking at this dead on. We'll do a loop cut here, but then we'll grab those vertices and bring them down to half. Loop cut there, bring that up to half of the grid there too. Okay. We're getting somewhere. Issue being is I have 4 slots. Well, technically more, but here. Loop cut this and loop cut this. And then loop cut here in the middle. Boom. Okay. So now what we can do is we can have one barrel in these four faces here. Not quite. We still have more space there. And I don't want to dice this up too much because then the vertex painting is going to be a pain. Not vertex painting. My brain's not working. Hold on, my brain will work in just a second. Bear with me. Texture painting. I don't know, man. It's getting late, isn't it? Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have done that this loop cut here and do that. There we go. Okay, so deselect. That's one cannon. This would be another cannon. If we just kind of extrude this out a little bit. Let's go about halfway like this. We can have the cannon be here and here, and then it'll automatically be there. Yeah, let's do that. That's one way to fix the problem. So let's start with this. And I want to get rid of that face as well. I want to get rid of this edge. So this will be one barrel right here. I think we can get away with doing this. Not quite. Not quite. Here. We'll just do this one at a time. Ta-da! That's a barrel. Cool. Now, we just need to do the same thing with these two faces. Make sure we select our edge. Oops, wrong edge. So we want these edges here lined up. Like that. We want these edges connected. It's coming together. Coming together. Alright, let's get these edges connected up. Nice. Oh shoot, not nice. Hold on, I'm seeing an issue. No! Why? Why was that your solution? Here, delete face. So the issue I'm seeing here is that, sorry, I'm scratching my eye, which is a bad idea. I'm gonna regret this in like 10 seconds. Connecting the faces like that means we don't have a flat platform. So we need to do that, which we can actually just solve by doing this first. Perhaps this second. And then this to here third. Wrong one. Here. And then we can just connect these edges to make up for it. There we go. Or I could have just done this, huh? Hindsight's 20/20, but that's why I wear glasses. Oh shit. Why does that look so weird? And that really stands out, doesn't it? If I delete this, what happens? Nothing. It's an extraneous edge. Good. This is also an extraneous edge. And nothing of value was lost. Wow, would you look at that? Very nice. So now we have our housing unit, which unfortunately looks very similar to our current housing unit for the cannons. So we're going to need to do some things to make this one a little bit different. Where do I want to start? What if, hear me out, select vertices, we just bring these corners in. Like that, and then just to correct them a little bit, we'll go inward like this. You know what? Not a bad change. It can use some improvements, but not a bad change so far. Let's see if we can't fix some of the issues we're seeing here. Bring this back out a little bit. Oh, you know what these remind me of? Hold on. I don't know how many of you have seen Ultraman Gaia. Truth be told, I need to finish it. But this looks really similar to the capsule ships that they have, where they deploy as these tubes in the air, and then when they come down from the sky, they literally unfold and deploy as aircraft. It's so cool. Oh man, I need to finish Ultraman Gaia, but I need to do that after I finish Tiga and Dyna, which I'm also really behind on. Truth be told, I haven't been able to watch a lot of stuff recently. I need to dedicate more me time to myself instead of just being like, I need to do so much to get things good for the stream on my off days, no less. Well, you know what? Maybe instead of correcting... Yeah, because now the faces are flat. Hold on, we can... Oops. We can work this out. I say we take these extraneous edges here, right? Bring them in. Whoops. Like so. Maybe have these ones stay here. Maybe I need to have it like progressively come back. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first off, line these up with the rest. Get these. So 1, 2, 3. We'll do 4. These also should have gone up. Here? Yeah. Ooh, actually, maybe those should be one back. Up. There. Then, just pull these corners in. Right about there. Something's coming together. Something's coming together. We're certainly getting somewhere. We're certainly getting somewhere. I'm kind of liking this a little bit. I think having these ones still flat might finish it. Yeah, you know what? I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot. The front should stay the same though, considering that the front has to be sturdy to support the recoil of the cannons, as if this is a realistic game. Ha ha ha. But still, it's nice to consider that kind of stuff. If I do this, will this get routed correctly? Oops. Okay, no, I don't want to do that then. Okay. We'll do one barrel at a time. It's not a big deal. Just bring it down like this. Grab these vertices here. Line them up. Grab these vertices here. Line those up. There we go. Now we just need to extrude them. Make the first barrel about that long. Then we'll just extrude inward one more time. Grab these vertices, put them here. Grab these vertices. Put them here. Make sure these are actually on the grid correctly. There we go. Why does that look so wrong? Oh, I know why. These shouldn't have been shrunk yet. Whoops. What we're supposed to do, grab these vertices, and then after they've been straightened, shrink them down to the appropriate size. Oops. Did I not extrude? What is happening? Yeah, I guess I didn't extrude. Strange. Could have sworn I was hitting all the right buttons. Okay, where's the main grid at? Okay. Oops, did not mean to seal that actually. The next thing I want to do is delete that edge. Extrude inward. Get these on the points. Bring this in to about here. And seal. Cool. Got a cannon. We have probably enough time to do the other cannon, and then we're gonna have to call it, but not bad progress-wise today. We could be a lot better, but honestly, small victories are still victories. So let's make sure that we match this scaling. Luckily we're using the grid method, so that makes it infinitely easier to keep track of all this. Yeah, within one grid square of each other, so that's good. Let me get another sip. Sorry if that was a little bit loud. Okay, let's grab these vertices. We don't need to extrude inward, we need to extrude outward. Yep, we did that correctly. Nice. Now we can extrude inward like this. Line up these points. Get that next part of the barrel out like this. And then finally, one more grid square in, just like that. Yep, and then, whoops, grab these vertices, bring it back. Nice. You know what? I want to add something funny, just to give the triple barrel cannon a little more personality. We'll add I'm gonna add some loop cuts here, and then just, oops, yeah, just bring that forward a hair, probably to about here. Another loop cut. Send that back to about here. Grab the face tool. We'll T and it's up like that. T and it's up like that. Switch to vertice mode. Ooh, actually, yeah, inward like this. Yeah! I love it. I love it. I think that looks great. I think that's really funny. Yeah, it gives it a little more personality. I wonder if we can probably grab these. Oops. Missed a vertice. Grab these, push it up a little bit more. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. Looks so much better. It was such a small thing, but it really does make that a little more interesting to look at. You know, hold on. Now that I did that, I kind of want to do that here too. Make sure we don't go too overboard with this. Make sure we only grab the vertices we need. Ooh. Oh, dude. I don't know why. I really like that. I really, really like that. I really like that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do more of that. Please. There we go. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know why. I just really like that. We're sticking with it. That looks great. Alright, we have 15 minutes. We can probably get some texture painting done. Smart UV project. We'll set the islands to 0.005. That went about as well as I was thinking it was gonna. Texture paint. Add a new texture slot. Triple barrel cannon texture. Then set that to 2048. Make sure we stay consistent in our base values. Cool. So I think first thing I want to do is outlining, obviously, but I also kind of want to see what this looks like if I painted these layers. Layers? I guess that's kind of what they are. Layers black. Why are they stacked like that? It's really strange. Yeah, let's just bring our brush size down. Make this size 10. And just pretend we're doing outlines real quick. Get a little line trace going. Is this also part of it? I guess so. Kind of. Kind of, not really. There we go. And then we can just kind of fill in the rest of this with a regular brush. Yeah, that's kind of looking pretty good. So where are those front-facing triangles? Here? Nope, but those I also want to paint black, so that's kind of okay. Here? Nope. Here? Nope. Where are those? Okay, pay attention to the shape me. Got kind of a trapezoid and a triangle at the end. Probably this. Because it definitely is. Okay. That's probably the back of one. Yep. Next one is probably this one here. Doesn't look right. And yet it is? Question mark? Yeah, okay, cool. So paint this one. Oh, interesting. I separated all the way over there. I like this. I really like how this is turning out. Okay, so let's just get this other side taken care of then. Starting with the outlines. Oh shoot, I'm still using the space stroke. Cross like this. Nice. Space. Yeah, I really like how that's coming out. Definitely gonna have to do something with the rest of the surface, but it's certainly coming together a lot better than I expected it to. Let's get that line brush back going. Da, 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 da. Where are those other faces? Not these, right? Well, I guess it is. Sometimes I guess correctly, sometimes I don't. Even I don't know. Doing this the hard way for no reason. There we go. Looks like anything that's like trapezoid shape, we can probably guess that it's correct. Yeah, so we can probably just go to the space brush, increase size a little bit, and just do this. Same thing here. Get a sip of my drink. Let's see, where else do we need to paint up? Here? Nope, not there. Right here. Okay, so this one is probably this. Yep. Nice. Might be worth adding another color to the faces, so that way they stand out more from the barrels, but we'll explore that. Oh shoot, it's gonna have to be another time at the rate we're going. Right, show me where the barrel textures are. Textures? UVs. And my brain is like so fried right now. And yet it doesn't seem to be painting what it says we're painting. Oh, we're down there. Okay. Oh wow, okay. Smart UV chose to throw everything at the wall to see what stuck. So if we paint all that... That must be painting inside the barrel or something. I don't see anything. How about over here? That looks like this. Well, kinda. We'll just fill that real quick. We need to fill down here as well. Nice. What about you? There we go. Okay. This looks like it's either the outside or the inside of the barrel. Yep, halfway inside the barrel there. Probably same for here. Yep. Same for here. Ooh, that's the top. Okay. How about here? I'm not even entirely sure. Maybe it was this. How about you? Okay. That was apparently something. Okay, that's turning out good. Hey, I think that's all sides in there. That's good. Not sure where that was, but it's painted. That seems to have been the other half of these bottom parts of the barrel there. It's safe to say we can paint this. Yep. How about you? Well, wherever it is, it's painted. Oh shoot. I don't want that one painted. We'll come back to that one. What's this? I'm not entirely sure. We'll leave that alone. Ah, here we go. I knew I was missing some obvious spaces. Like double checking to see where these are getting painted at, and I'm not seeing the spaces I want to see painted. There we go. There we go. Hey. Hey, there we go. Nice, okay. Is it this one? Is that all sides? Yeah, now it's just those front squares. So maybe this? Yep. Then this one. Nice. Nice. It's probably the small one, right? Yeah, there we go. Alright, it's not done, but it is pretty close. Alright, that's gonna have to be it for today. Alright, I'm just gonna take a moment to shamelessly plug, and then we'll call it a night. But if you enjoyed this stream at all, you know, twitch.tv/kaijucon_. If you want to see any edited content, it's on the Kaijucon YouTube channel. I recently started a TikTok. There's not much on there right now, but there is some content scheduled to come out on weekdays at 6 p.m. MST, so feel free to keep an eye on that. I also have a card page, so if there's other content that you're curious about that I'm working on, it'll be there at kaijucon.card with 2ds.co. But yeah, for everyone who came and tuned in today, thanks for lurking. I really appreciate you even spending a minute of your time with me. Hopefully we'll get all these guns imported and operational in Unreal at the end of the day tomorrow. We can start working on some new guns and experiment on how to make them work. In the meantime though, I'm gonna head to bed